in prayer.
Let's pray. Most kind, gracious, Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you once again. God, we just thank you for all the many blessings that you poured out. God, we just pray that you'll be with each and every one of these commissioners as they take care of the business at hand. Lord, I just pray that you'll be with our nation, our country, and God, I pray that you'll continue to bless both. For in Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Debbie Davis.
Here.
Daniel Deal.
Here.
Dewey Estimov.
Here.
Mark Evans.
Here.
Jeremy Kinsey.
Here.
John Pippinger.
Here.
Samantha Trantham. Here. James Williams.
Here.
First on our agenda, we're going to do the approval of previous meetings.
Motion to approve unapproved minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Brooks. Any discussion? Roll call. Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Daniel Deal.
Yes.
Dewey Estimov.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trantham. Yes. James Williams.
Yes.
Next, we have approval of reports of office.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Brooks. Any discussion? Roll call. Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Daniel Deal.
Yes.
Dewey Estimov.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey.
Yes.
John Pippinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trantham. Yes. James Williams.
Yes.
Okay, first we are going to let Mr. Logan speak, so he can let us know.
Second, $400 an hour for the time period.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Get past that. Okay. I came for three purposes. One is to tell you that the opioid litigation is consummating across the country. You may have seen in the newspaper that we did reach an agreement. All of the counties, many of the counties, most everyone was involved at any governmental level on the Purdue. It's going to be $16.7 billion. It's, I believe, of course, understand that's nationwide. The Cardinal and the Endo litigation is at $26 billion. And there are other smaller sums from other smaller countries. We will continue to work because what's our goal? To get as much as we can from Polk County out of whatever is allocated to the state of Tennessee. We're going to continue to work on that. We have two bits of litigation which are pending. One is the city of Ducktown that sued Polk County, asserting that they do not have to pay the tipping fee, which is authorized specifically by statute. And there's a lot going on with reference to that bit of litigation. It is the court expedited, and it will be tried on August the 19th. And I will be in contact with a couple of you who may well be witnesses with reference to that litigation. The third bit of litigation is three lawsuits which were filed as appeals from Beer Board decisions. I understand at the end of your discussion today that there's a proposal which may be made to you regarding some of the issues which are present in that, and that's one of the reasons I came tonight. If you have questions regarding that litigation, we'd be interested to know that two of the three cases which were filed or have been filed at this point have been resolved favorably to the decision of the Beer Board. That is, those two cases are dismissed, as you may be aware of which they are. May not be, so let me just tell you that the Gaddis application has been dismissed, as is the St. Clair's case as well. Our copies of the orders on behalf to present those. It's not necessary that they be made part of the minutes or anything, because actually that's a Beer Board issue, because they are the ones who are under the obligation to enforce the rules which you set. And with reference to that, I would tell you that it's not a secret that there are other people who have claims which can be made as a result of the distance violations or potential violations of the distance rules. some of the allegations which have been made. There were about 13, there were 13 of them. Mr. Pippinger, once again, spent, he and his mate spent, his wonderful wife spent, I think, it was 2.5 to 3 hours with us as we went through each of those. It is possible that 4 of those could be additional litigation. So I think that it is your decision. I'll make comments if you would like regarding the proposal which you may consider at the end of this meeting based upon your rules of operation. That would, if it is considered by you, resolve any potential litigation. There would still be 2 issues that would be confronting the Bureau Board's direction to us, which I don't think are necessarily cured by this because of the actions and conduct taken in the finality of the judgments for reference to St. Clair's and the initial status application. My impression is, well, Mr. Cook, you correct me if I'm wrong, that there was an application filed recently, is that correct?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
For the same location.
For the same location. The problem might be with reference to that and to St. Clair's, they made an application for reinstatement or a new application. Generally, there's a general language in the statute which says that if you're revoked are not permitted as a result of the all statements, that you can't reapply for 10 years. So that's a very interesting question that the Board of Bureau will have to make a determination regarding whether or not that's enforceable or not. I'll give them advice because that is independently shocking as it may seem, a decision of the Bureau Board, I think, of the applicable law. But as I can assure you, when I'm working with them through this whole process, dedicated, fine people making decisions which they believe to be correct, and we'll just have to cross that bridge with them. I don't think you can amend what you're really considering at the end of the meeting if you do what you consider that would end any potential additional litigation. And it could also assure, and this is not the issue of every government decisions, it will, but it is a consideration that revenue streams will be maintained. And I'm under the understanding you folks are going to take up potential budget amendments, and I know I work diligently to try to have a good budget for the community. So, but that's a small portion of the revenue stream. It is a factor, if I'm understanding correctly, for this your county executive and district engineer have discussed along with the other board members.
So if we shorten this resolution passes tonight, and then there's current litigation going on, and if it's more than one issue, like more than just the footage rule, like
False statements.
right, false statements, that can still be continued, right?
The finality is not there. I think if that litigation is dismissed. Now, understand that the reason for the dismissals were as a result of legal issues that are not present in any other existing case, including.
Or could we go back and revisit that one under false statements, or any of them?
I don't think, because of the position which is taken with reference to the bus bar, that application where they moved the location of the same business is dispensing of beer to two other tracks. It was initially one track, then they moved it to another track which they own, and now they moved it to the bus bar, which is another track offered by Carlos Smith, who was very candid in our meeting and acknowledging that he probably should have left it where it was, but he's taking a position like one which had been taken by the other two people who appeal those decisions, that we don't apply it equally across the board. and there are significant questions which were raised with reference to at least 3, probably 4 others which are present. And we've gone over those in great detail.
Was there a chance that we could revoke the bus bar for 10 years?
I think that there's always, not for that at this time, the question of the discrimination aspect applies if properly presented to at least 4 other locations.
The revocation itself is not for 10 years. The statute says if you're revoked, you cannot reapply.
For 10 years, which is basically the same thing, just different.
Yeah, it's different.
Different.
But that's the key. The Bucktown case, we tried very expeditiously and puzzling cases scheduled for August 19th. So complex, but relatively straightforward. Resolve that issue at the end of this meeting. Questions about opioid, or, oh, there's one other thing that I should have mentioned to you. I think we're close to a contract with the airport issue. I hope to have that for you next week. Thank you for allowing me to have the responsibility of representing you over the year in litigation. Any other questions? Thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak, and I won't send you a bill for the treasurer. Good to see you.
If you're not doing this, you can stay all you want to.
Anybody else? Is the sheriff here? Thank you. You don't borrow your pieces of wood. See you, John. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is the approval of notaries. First, we have Ms. Jill Rose. She works for the Copper Basin Utility District. Next, we have Nicole Blue, who works for Laura Crawford. Next, we have Amanda Smith, who works for Laura Crawford as well. Jennifer Davenport works for Copper Basin Federal Credit Union. Larry, I don't know how to say his name, but he doesn't have an employer. And Ms. Tanya Wilson, she works for the Polk County Government Assessor's Office. And Ms. Leanne Falls works for the Polk County Assessor's Office.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Steele, second by Brooks. Any discussion?
Yes. Jennifer Davenport says she's not a citizen of the United States.
Yeah, then are you a permanent resident? She said no.
Sure that wasn't
I'm
state.
sure it was.
You gonna kick that out next month and ever redo it just in case?
You want to amend your motion?
Dang it, King.
Jennifer
Man, you're
Davenport.
exposed to that.
I'll amend my motion.
Exposed to Davenport face.
Any more discussion?
Yes, normally they have new or reappointed. Some of these don't have that on there. But these first two, that's the Rose and the Blue, are those reappointments or new? Do you have any idea?
Jill, is yours new?
Mine is a reappointment. I did not see a check mark for that, but it does ask for my current expiration date, and none is on there.
Who's that for?
Jill Rose.
And the application itself didn't have it on there. You know, that on there. The others do.
Hers has it. There's 2 different applications.
Okay, yeah, I see it now, sorry.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Debbie Davis.
Yes.
Daniel Deal.
Yes.
Julie Espinot.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
Aaron McKenzie.
Yes.
John Kipinger.
Yes.
Samantha Franklin.
Yes.
James Williams.
Yes.
Next, we have budget amendments. We do have one. It is for 116 sanitation, and it is out of line 116-39000, sanitation undesignated for $14,697, over into line 55710-312 for a contract with private agency of $14,697.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Kinsey. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Dewey Estimont,
Yes.
Mark Evans, Jeremy Kinsey,
Yes.
John Pippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Franklin,
Yes.
James Williams.
Yes.
Okay, the next on our agenda, I hope I never have to go through one of these again. I'll just be honest with you, I hope I never have to, because I absolutely hate choosing. I think that should be for everybody to choose instead of us sitting here, but
It's the worst thing you'll ever face as a county commissioner. Just about might be the worst thing you'll ever do.
yeah, I
Unless
hope
you
I
want to
never
answer
do
the
it.
phone all day. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Actually, most
I know.
Because it's always,
Know them, know them and have interactions with them
and it's always the people who come
You're just-
before your appointments.
and just kind of like up against it.
Can we just make a motion, let the county executive speak? Oh, yes, go, Rick.
Yeah, it's good.
We'll let you speak.
Hey, Rob, you said we could, why don't you veto that, dude?
So next on our agenda is going to be our 3rd District School Board appointment.
Make a motion, nominate Nathan Henderson.
I make a motion for Merce Davis.
First, we will vote on Nathan.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Wait, can I say one thing for me? Now, they've done said this now. I've been commissioner for 16 years. And I've done 4 or 5 school board meetings. And it is not fun. And I want to tell both these men, I love you both. I've worked for both of you. I've done work for both of you. Mush, you can look at me, I'm talking to you. I mean, I'm telling you from my heart right now. I hate doing this. I wish Robbie wouldn't resign and we wouldn't be put in this position to do it. I've had phone calls for you and I've had them for Nathan. And I appreciate both of you men. Both of you are good men. And I'm telling you that right now before we vote on it. Now, we're only filling this position for 1 year until election time. Then we're gonna have 2 appointments come up. The one we're doing tonight and David Goody. And I expect whoever don't get it better have their name on that ballot. Because this is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And I'm telling you, I appreciate both of you. And you wouldn't believe, I'm telling you the truth, the people that I've talked to for a month, and especially today. Okay? The text, I'll show anybody my phone. It has blew up, and I know a lot of people on here has blew up today. And I'm just doing what I feel like I need to do, and that's what I have to say.
I'd like to speak if I could.
You'll actually lose sleep over these right here. That's the truth. When they're coming up.
I wanna know why it ain't done like it used to be done. Because when my daughter was on this school board, and she resigned from the school board, she stepped down and Pat Sue stepped right up in her place.
We appointed Pat.
Well, I mean, why ain't it done like that? When Mush resigned back years ago, the person stepped right up in Mush's place. Why ain't it done like that now?
I don't know anybody stepping right up.
They tell me the bylaws have changed. Why would they change?
The state law on appointments hadn't changed since like 19.
We appointed, when your daughter resigned, we appointed Pat.
I mean, he was a runner-up. I mean, he was appointed right in there, and I can't understand why it's a runner-up.
Oh, it wasn't nothing to do with him being a runner-up in the election. I mean, you can take that into consideration, but it's nothing binding.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying now.
I think it ought to be election before they can run for it.
We do.
A special election.
Yeah.
It would be so much easier.
Anybody does, we do.
Well, why can't it be done?
It can. What's the cost of a special election, around 20,000?
Yeah. Got it.
So we always just point them to the next schedule.
I mean, I know Nathan too, I know Nathan well, I mean, Nathan's a good person, but I know Nurse Davis too, and he's a good person. And I just couldn't understand why it wasn't done that way, because it's been done that way every time somebody resigns.
We've never had special election when somebody's resigned.
I'm not telling you about a special election, I said the person that was the runner-up behind me stepped up in that place.
Well, they were appointed by the commission, they really got, nobody just stepped up. Way that's been appointed.
Well, now it's done that way now.
That's what we're fixing to do.
Yeah, but you're just pulling somebody out, I mean, that's not right, the man that went through the election and run for it, he should be the one that stepped up and take that place.
He's saying got somebody never been in there before.
Well, what, I don't know what the other ain't
He went through the
done.
election to get people to vote for him.
I've heard, good things about both of them. What I done was similar to an election. I just imagined 3 from East End's phone today. Because mine blew up, and I just wrote down everybody's for Nathan and
I mean, he should have a
everybody.
change too.
Who's that?
Andrew, he should have a change too. I mean,
Anybody that, Ricky, anybody that wanted a shot at this had to go to Robbie's office and get an application. That's put in every paper in Polk and Fannin County.
And it's on video too.
And it's on video back there. Everything's on video. We can't hide nothing. We're not trying to hide nothing, Ricky.
I didn't say, I mean, I
know.
don't think you are.
I was here when we appointed Pat. I mean, we done it the same way. I know he was runner-up, but I may be wrong about that, but I think he was the only one that applied for that at the time, when we appointed him, when it came up.
I just couldn't understand it, that's what I wanted to know.
I know. And I know you called me and Tankerson's called me and I've talked to a lot of people. I really have, a lot of people.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask, I just wanted to know why it wasn't done that way, it's been done that way all before, and
I'm doing the same thing I done with Pat. I wrote down everybody that called me and who they wanted and tallied it up, and that's how I voted for Pat.
Me too.
It wasn't nothing to do with him.
And I didn't even know neither one.
But I just,
And that's
every
what
time
I'm-
somebody called, I got a card in my truck
I
that showed, I just kept score. That's how I base my decision.
I mean, you're no board, you don't gotta make a decision, but I just blame Mush, because Mush is a good man too, and I know Nathan's a good person, but
Well, let's put it this way. It sounds like y'all are pretty lucky that you do have 2 good ones. So whoever gets it, the other one, they come back and they run then in a year, and you've got 2 good men that is ready to step forward, whichever one gets it. Then when election comes, if that one gets beat, he's gonna get beat hopefully by that other good man. So that's one good thing that everybody has to look forward to.
It's gotta be. It's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Yeah, it'll be up for that.
The next election, there's gonna be 2 appointments. The one we fill tonight, and then David Good is up. Both of them will be up. Like I say, who don't get it, I want their name to be on there after what we go through to do what we're doing tonight.
I won't be only fire, but
Yeah.
And I wish we just had the money just to do it right now, so I didn't have to pick this, because it's the worst thing ever. I mean, if our county could afford it, that's what we would be doing.
I think you bring it down. You ain't.
Thank you.
Ms. Denise, roll call.
Renee first,
Yes, please.
Greg Brooks,
I done voted once before this discussion started. I sure ain't voted.
Never stopped you before, Brooke.
David Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Dewey Esponot,
Yes.
Mark Evans,
Yes.
Jeremy Kimsey,
Nice.
John Pippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Trantham,
Yes.
James Woody.
No.
Seven yes, one pass, one no.
Next on our agenda is going to be our tax rate resolution. John Holt.
Bree's still here.
That's just a figment of imagination. Let's just vote yes and forget it.
Everybody got a copy on it?
It's the budget, I'll take it together.
It's in the budget statement. Appropriations. Which one we starting with, Madam Chair?
It's the tax rate resolution. You'll tell me which one it is, I'll read it.
Appropriations, first appropriations.
It's on page 1. It's like third page.
You care to read that?
A resolution making an appropriation for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Polk County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1st, 2021, ending June 30th, 2022. Section 1, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of the Polk County of Tennessee, assembled in general session on the 22nd day of July 2021, that the amounts hereby set out are hereby appropriated for the purpose of meeting the expenses of the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Polk County, Tennessee, for the capital outlay and for meeting the payment of principal and interest on the county's debt maturing during the year beginning July 1st, 2021, and then June 30th, 2022, according to the following schedules. And our total grant fund is $9,098,866. That one, general funds. Do you want to read all those, John?
Yep, just the total under each, like highway, drug,
Okay.
sanitation, just the total has to be read out.
Okay, sanitation fund is $590,098, drug control fund $28,500, highway public works fund $5,314,706. School fund is $18,800,291. School fund projects of $1,419,957. Central cafeteria is $1,455,597. Debt service fund is $2,070,134. Other capital projects, $125,000. Section 2, be it further resolved that there are also hereby appropriated certain portions of the commission and fees for collection, taxes, and license, and administering other funds, which the trustee, county clerk, circuit county clerk, and master registry, and the sheriff, and their official authorized duties and associates may enter entitled to receive under state law, hereto therefore hereafter enact. Expenditures out of the commission and/or fees collected by the trustee, county clerk, circuit county clerk, and master register, and sheriff may be made for the purpose in such amounts as may be authorized by existing law or by valid order of any court having power to make such appropriations. Any acts excess commissions and/or fees collected over and above the expenditures duly consistently authorized shall be paid over to the trustee and converted into general funds as provided by law. Be it therefore resolved that if any officials, as muttered in section 8-22-101 Tennessee Code anointed, operated under provisions section 8-22-104 Tennessee Code anointed provisions of the preceded paragraph shall not apply to those particular offices. Jeez, John, you drive pretty crazy. Section 3, be it further resolved that any amendment to the budget expected for amendments to the budget for funds under supervision of the Director of Schools shall be approved as provided in section 5-9-407 Tennessee Code anointed. The Director of Schools must receive approval of the Board of Education for transfers which each major category of the budget and approval of both the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners for transfers between major categories as requested by law. One copy of each amendment shall be filled with the county clerk, one copy of the chair of the budget committee, one copy with each divisional or department head concerned. The reasons for each transfer shall be clearly stated. However, this section shall in no case whatsoever be construed as authorized transferred from one fund to another, but shall solely be transferred within certain funds. Section 4. Be it further resolved that any appropriations made by the resolution which covers the same purpose of which the specific appropriation is made by statute is made in lieu of, but not in addition to said statutory appropriations, the salary, wages, and remunerations of each officer, employee, or agent of the county shall not be exceed of the amounts authorized by existing law or set forth in an estimate of expenditures which accompanies this resolution. Provided, however, the appropriations for each salary, wage, or other hereby authorized shall in case be constructed as permitted expenditures for offices, agencies, institutions, divisions, or departments of the county, which appropriations shall be contributed to limited expenditures for any appropriation shall no consistent be more than the amount of herein appropriation for such items. Section 5. Be it further that any resolution which may hereas be presented to the Board of County Commissioners provided for appropriations in addition to those by this budget appropriations resolution shall specifically provide sufficient revenue or other actually be provided during the year of which expenditures is to be made met such additional appropriations. Said appropriations resolution shall be submitted to and approved by the State Director of Local Finance after adopting as provided by Section 9-21-403 Tennessee Code of Anointment. Section 4. Be it resolution that the county mayor and county clerk are hereby authorized to borrow money on revenue anticipation notes provided such as note are first approved by the State Director of Local Finance to be paid for expenditures hereas authorized until taxes and other revenues for the year 2021-2022 have been collected. The procedures of the loan for each individual fund shall not exceed 60% of appropriations of which funds shall not be used to pay any expenditures and other requirements of the fund which the loan is made. The loan shall be paid out of the revenue from the fund which money is borrowed. The note evidence the loan authorized under this section shall be issued under the appropriate applicant section of Title IX Tennessee Code anointed. Said note shall be signed by the county mayor, co-signed by the county clerk, and shall mature and be paid in full without renewal no later than June 30th, 2022. Section 7. Be it further resolved that the delinquent county property tax for the year 2019 prior years of interest be penalty thereon collected during the year ending June 30th, 2021 shall be appointed to the various county funds according to the subdivision of the law levy for the year 2021. The clerk and master and the trustee are hereby authorized and directed to make such appropriations accordingly. Section 8. Be there resolved that all expenses and appropriations remaining at the end of the year shall lapse and be no further affected at the end of the year of June 30th, 2022. Section 9. Be it further resolved that any resolution or part resolution which hereto therefore must be passed by the Board of Commissioners which is in conflict with any provision in this resolution be and the same hereas repealed. Section 10. Be it further resolved that any resolution shall affect from after its passage and provisions shall be forced from and after July 1st, 2021. This resolution shall spread upon the minutes of the Board of County Commissioners.
Motion to approve 7121.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Davis. Any discussion?
Just one, section 3. Is there any change to that section as from last year as far as approval?
Do you want to write one in real quick with him?
No, I just double reading it when I read section 6. And all
Just
that.
write us one in.
Missed the opportunity. I just want to make sure I was the same. No further questions.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Dewey Estimov,
Yes.
Mark Evans,
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey,
Yes.
John Pippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Franklin,
Yes.
James Williams.
Yes.
So next, we're going to do the, I guess, the tax, so it'll be 7.
Tax levy.
Yep. Resolution fixes the tax levy in Polk County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1st, 2021. Section 1, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Polk County, Tennessee assembled in regular session meeting on this 22nd day of July 2021 that the combined property tax rate for Polk County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1st, 2021 shall be $2.5120 on each $100 of taxable property, which is provided revenue from each of the following funds and otherwise conform to the following levies. Our general fund is $1.4066. Solid waste sanitation, .0846. General purpose of schools, 0.7010. General debt services, 0.3198, of a total of 2.5120. Section 2, be it further resolved that there is hereby levied a gross receipts tax as provided by law. The proceeds of the gross receipts tax hereon levied shall accrue to the general fund. Section 3, be it resolved that all resolutions of the Board of County Commissioners of Polk County, Tennessee, which are in conflict with this resolution are hereby repealed. Section 4, be it resolved that this resolution takes effect from after its passage. The public welfare required it. This resolution shall be spread upon the minutes of the Board of County Commissioners.
Motion to approve 7221. Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Kimsey. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Dewey Estimov,
Yes.
Mark Evans, Jeremy Kinsey,
Yes.
John Pippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Franklin.
Yes.
James Williams.
Yes.
Next is our budget approval.
We've got the tax levy set, the tax rate set, proration set, the Teresa, is there anything in that budget that doesn't coincide with the proration of the levy that you know of? I know you've worked on this a whole lot more than me. I mean, everything's still the same. I make a motion to approve the county budget as presented.
Is the donation thing after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made a motion to approve the budget as is.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Davis. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Dewey Estimon,
Pass.
Mark Evans, Jeremy Kinsey, John Pippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Trent,
Yes.
James Woody,
Yes.
Okay, next is gift to nonprofit profits.
It's resolution making appropriations, it's 7321. You have a copy of
Yep. Resolution making appropriations to nonprofit charitable organizations of Polk County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1st, 2021, ending in June 30th, 2022. Whereas Section 5-9-109 Tennessee Code amendment authorizes the Polk County legislative body to make appropriations to various nonprofit charitable organizations. And whereas the Polk County legislative body recognizes the various nonprofit charitable organizations providing services in Polk County have great needs of funds to carry to their charitable work. Now therefore, it be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Polk County meeting in special scheduled meeting on this 22nd day of July 2021 at 3,000 be appropriated to non-profit organizations in Polk County as reflected below. Ocoee Youth Center Boys and Girls Club got $1,604.87. People Helping People got $252. Polk County Baptist Association got $362.28. Shock got $350. And Tennessee Over the Hill got $430.85. And it be resolved that all appropriations anointed in section 1 above are subject to the following conditions: that the nonprofit organizations to which the funds are appropriated shall file the county clerk and distribute officials a copy of any annual report of his business affairs and transactions and the purposed use of county funds in according with the rules and regulations by the Controller of Treasury, Chapter 0380-207. Such annual reports be prepared and certified by the Chief Financial Officer of such nonprofit organization in accordance to Section 5-9-109. That said, funds must be spent by named nonprofit charitable organizations in furtherance of their nonprofit charitable purposes benefiting the general welfare of the residents of Polk County. That is expressed interest of the County Commission of Polk County in providing these funds to the above named nonprofit charitable organizations be fully in compliance with the Chapter 038-2-7 of the rules of the Comptroller of the Treasury of Section 5-9-109 Tennessee Code anointed and any and all other laws which may apply to the county organization to the nonprofit organizations, so this appropriation is made subject to compliance with any and all laws and regulations. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect from and after its passage, and provisions shall be fully enforced from and after July 1st, 2021. This resolution shall be spread upon the minutes of the Board of County Commissioners this 22nd day of July 2021.
Could you repeat them amounts on that, for the board, please?
Okay. The Boys and Girls Club got $1,604.87. People Helping People got $252. Polk County Baptist Association got $362.28. Sharp got $350. Tennessee Over the Hill got $430.85.
Made a total of $3,000.
How did the Overhill get more money than the Baptist Association and People Helping People? Is that what we, how did we figure that?
All of
Each
you
one
that
of
were
us.
Is that the
present
one
at
we
that
done
meeting
that?
Yeah.
had your vote. I mean, had.
Yeah,
It
I
was
just,
broke up.
okay, so the Overhill's getting more than the Baptist Association or People Helping People?
Yeah, I didn't think those were.
I just made sure.
I stood there like, y'all don't need to.
I just making sure I was clear on that. And that is the money
That
that
is
we
how
divvied
the
up. Okay.
That is how the votes came in, that's what went there.
Looks, I was gonna make a motion to approve, and they can feel bad about that.
Do what?
I said, I was gonna make a motion to approve, they can feel bad about that.
We make a motion to deny it.
Only if you do away with the whole thing.
And then we'll put it back in there. I don't care, guess we'll vote, I don't want to hold the whole thing up, I just don't get how those bills get going, the Baptist Association, People Helping People.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Pippinger, second by Esquinox. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Dewey Estimov,
Yes.
Mark Evans,
Yes.
Jeremy Kinsey,
Yes.
John Pippinger,
Yes.
Samantha Franklin,
Yes.
James Wade.
Yes.
Next, we have Baptist Association Building.
Oh, that's mine. I think, Mr. Woody wanted me to put that on there. Thing, we met with, Tuesday night with the lodge and, somebody from the Baptist Association. And I think we all agreed our first step was get a survey done. So, I make a motion to give Executive Hatcher the authority to contact the surveyor and have a survey done first. I believe that'll be the first step. The lodge did indicate they wasn't interested in it for now in the building. I think the first step will be get a survey done and, put this back on the agenda for next month.
Question for you before we make a motion. Shouldn't the building committee get with, or the executive get with the Baptist Association to come up with some kind of agreement of how proceeds will be split before we, I mean, if they're stuck on one price?
Well, that's, I was gonna make a motion for that next, after the survey.
Well,
To
well, at
let
least
him
the money
negotiate
survey,
with.
because we can't come to an agreement before.
Well, I was gonna let him, my next motion, we let the executive start negotiations with the Baptist Association, and then come back to the building committee with an offer, see if we think it's reasonable, or the whole commission. But I guess I'll amend my motion to give the county executive authority to contact the surveyor and begin negotiations with the Baptist Association on the price. If we come back to the building committee and full commission, like take care of what's talking about right now.
Second.
Okay. And then we'll put it back on the please.
Okay. Motion made by Brooks, second by Esquinox. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks.
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Dewey Estimov.
Yes.
Mark Evans.
Yes.
Jeremy Campbell.
Yes.
John Kipinger.
Yes.
Samantha Trent.
Yes.
James Wade.
Yes.
Next, we have our audit committee report.
You've been handed out, if you don't have one, there's no copies here of the audit committee report. It includes the findings of the audit committee dealing with the state's audit. It also has some information on what's been done this last year during the 7 Act. And I just needed a acknowledgement that the commission has received the minutes. Which one?
That was a copy of that?
Somebody gets it. There's 2 pages. Yeah, I just need to call you. Has been received by the commission. And I thought, just ask, it's spread upon the minutes of the commission meeting.
We have to put that in our minutes. Okay, so you can pass that on down those 2 pages. Next on our agenda is the Oak Boy Gateway Resolution.
I would on it, I think it's got some real good points. Could you meet back with us in 2 weeks up here? Could you come back in 2 weeks and meet with us, the building committee?
The building committee?
Yeah,
Possibly.
building and lands committee,
Possibly,
or the
yeah.
whole commission. But what it is, I'm getting here from both sides, and I mean, I like y'all's ideas too, but we've got some landowners that I don't think was aware this is in the packet, and they've got some questions and some real issues and some questions they'd like to answer. Could we table this a month and give those other landowners a chance to meet with us in 2 weeks and yourself?
Sure, I don't want to upstage
And then,
Dewey's. If he needs to present the resolution.
Well, he can, but
Yeah.
we'll get with that.
Let me
in a
see,
minute.
2 weeks.
There's a lot of landowners, you know, a bunch of them that's really got some issues and some questions they'd like to have answered. I mean, we can vote on that if you want to, but I think it works out better.
Table it until we meet with them.
Yeah, table it next month's meeting, and then we'll meet with them in 2 weeks, if that's okay.
What day would you want that to be?
It's 2 weeks today, good, everybody on the commission. I think this one, the whole commission needs to meet, if that's all right with you, in 2 weeks.
Let's see. Now, I'm just wanting our committee, by the way,
Well, you can contact me tomorrow and let me know
Yeah.
when your committee can
that
be
would
here,
be,
and I'll,
I'm trying to see my calendar, is that August 12th? Or-
I believe so. And you can just give your
Yeah,
committee.
yeah, I'm
let
going
me
to
know
go,
tomorrow.
I'm going to be gone somewhere next week, but after that, it'll be fine,
And
by
I'll,
the way.
if there's any issue with August 12th at 7, let me know, and I'll get Lee's people, but if not, we'll try to make it 7.
Okay.
He said August 12th, it'd be August the 5th.
Oh, the 5th?
2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the 12's fine, it's automatic, it's gonna be on the agenda anyway next month, so we're not gonna miss the deadline for the agenda by having it on the 12th.
Yeah, I could do either. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going on a trip with the grandkids next week, but I'll be back.
So the
Now,
12th is good, everybody. August 12th at 7, I guess. whole commission that was clear plans to me, that's possible.
For others' information, I presented this May 25th slide presentation to the entire commission on behalf of the Ocoee Gateway Community Initiative Steering Committee. Some of them are here this evening. Lynn McClary, Chamber of Commerce, been working closely with us, and we have reached out to property owners and invited them to our 2 different meetings, fall and spring. But we don't want anybody to be uncomfortable with this.
Yeah, that's why if you're
Right.
here, just give us one.
And I told Commissioner Espinox, we can adapt. We would rather you approve this so that our volunteer committee can keep working without a setback. We think what we have is non-controversial, okay? And Dewey, would you like to say a few words about it, just to preview it, so that, but I can, not only me, but I can have others perhaps join me to answer questions about it then, but I will commit to doing that if that's what you all want to do.
I do have one question. I read it when it was presented a couple of years ago. The request is to set the guidelines in with the resolution and what y'all been, the steering group has been headed toward. Is there anything in it that becomes mandatory or required?
No, and again, I don't want to upstage what was going to be presented, but I feel like even perhaps Commissioner Davis asked the question last time, and due to time constraints, I don't think we thoroughly discussed it then. But what we're trying to do is to set up a dialogue for that corridor between Ocoee and Parksville with all those lands along Highway 64 as a potential tourism corridor. There would be no grand master plan, by the way, because I did present some plans my students had done about 10 years ago, and those were academic. They were not, they were idealistic, as if property boundaries did not exist. And so when Commissioner Davis, I believe, asked, would there be, what if somebody doesn't want to go along with that? That's fine. I think, I was thinking on the way down here that if you have a puzzle, have you ever worked a puzzle of 1,000 pieces or 500 pieces? What do you like to look at when you're working that puzzle? You like to look at that picture on the box, right? So even if you work it piece by piece, you have some vision as to how you would like to end up. And without a vision, pieces get thrown here and there, and it's not likely we'd like to dictate some grand master plan. All we're trying to do as a committee is to get some momentum to seek some professional funding without asking the county for any funding at all. We think some professional studies need to be done. Partners need to be brought on with property owners, developers, property owners, state, local. We want you to be a partner. That's why we're coming to you early on. But this is not something simple. If it was, we could have already done that. It's a long-term thing, but some professional guidance along the way will help facilitate all the property owners and partners, including all those relating to building the economic base. Now, I have family land there. Some of these folks here on land there, been in the family since 1800s. Now, I would like for it to stay just like it is, but it's not going to be that way. If y'all decided, well, we should not change. But I think we are dealing with change. And how do we deal with change? And that's what it's all about. I would invite, if it's appropriate, for Julie to at least say a few words. Otherwise, yes, I am willing, and we will contact the other committee members. There are 9 people at least on the committee, including Lynn McClary, who tried to work closely with the Chamber of Commerce, the Industrial Economic Development Board. Saw our presentation last fall. 2 different meetings with property owners, and we would love to have more. We have not had 100% participation, but if it takes that a little bit more time, that's better than voting it down right now.
That's what my thinking was. And 2, I guess my question is, what is this going to change? I mean, obviously there's such a push to do it, it's going to change something. What's going to change about the land?
Mr. Brooks, can I don't mean to interrupt, but one thing that I think the property owners may be concerned about, this is not a homeowners association. I'm not officially on the committee, I have helped them with some projects, but this is not a homeowner situation that tells you your driveway has to be so wide, or you can't plant this kind of bushes. You know what I'm talking about. That's not what it is, and it's open to, if property owners don't want to participate, but if you have property owners who want to develop their property, then this is like a guidebook or some general ideas to develop their property in a manner that retains the heritage, culture, history of that area, rather than bringing in a Bowater, for example, that is not necessarily fits into that corridor.
But would it not involve zoning?
No, no. It's a voluntary thing. You know, if you own property and you did not want to develop it, you wanted to just have your home, and that's fine. But those owners who want to develop, but want to do so in a manner that retains the history and the heritage of Polk County, it would be like just a guidebook for ideas, suggestions, and ways to develop their property.
So it's pretty much, the bottom line really though is, if the landowners are not enough of them interested in it, it's kind of dead in the water. I mean, we can't make them be interested, no matter how many resolutions we pass.
But what the resolution would do, from my understanding of it, is when they get ready to solicit grant money to develop proposals or ideas, that helps them retain the grants because they can say, our county commission is in support of this.
Right. But they, like I say, but they will be the one that makes the final, basically, decisions on whether it goes or it dies.
I mean, I didn't mean to step in
no,
front of you.
that's okay, because I come from a professional background where this is done a lot. You know, I mean, City of Chattanooga tried to do some visioning years ago before they did the Tennessee Aquarium and everything, and they started thinking about what do we want. So you build strategies, and a lot of it's educational process.
Right.
And so whether you're building a house or doing your backyard or a larger development, you have to be thinking about what character are you wanting to put forth. And so we were hoping that enough people, in fact, it's always been so well received, by the way. In our slide presentation, it says we would advocate visioning, not zoning. Okay, so we're not trying to make mandatory requirements at all. We're trying to get folks talking to each other so that things just don't all happen in a vacuum. And maybe that's very idealistic. That's what visioning is all about, though, bringing people to the table. But like me, Joe Fatzer here, an owner of land, but we may not have the resources to really do some big master plan development on our acreage. Right. And so we're thinking, well, what is going to be our legacy for Polk County? But I would hate to see its character of our wonderful place there destroyed completely.
Yeah.
And this would be a stewardship. I learned that in the church when once a year there was a stewardship sermon by Reverend Hooker at Zion Church. And it made an impression on me that we have to be good stewards of the land. And I even went that direction with my profession. And so we don't want to just go into something without being informed about what the potential is. And I hope from our slideshow we showed that potential. But if we need to show it to others that weren't here, Commissioner Brooks, Greg, okay. We'll show that at the drop of a hat. Everybody knows that. Now, Julie, do you want to say something? Okay.
And we've got a group of 9 individuals working together, trying to bring in some progress to the area without it turning into a Pigeon Forge. Is that true? I mean, we don't want a Pigeon Forge down through here, but we would like to see some stuff develop and come into the area. That's what attracts
Right.
people.
I like the concept of it, I just want everybody involved. That way they keep coming up and say, well, we didn't, no, they should have done, no, I agree. But
We
this
tried
right
to,
here,
yeah, we
cleared.
had a mailing list, but you know, there was some properties that changed during the pandemic.
We got 9 new landowners
Right,
up through there.
and
I
they
just
might
like
have-
all them to, you know, get a seat
Love to
slide,
get them
show
together.
them, speak the piece.
Yeah.
Because people, world's worst, say, well, I didn't know nothing about that. You know, even though it is in the paper, and it is on YouTube, you know.
Go ahead, Judge.
But we've got people wanting to put stuff together to work to bring more revenue to the county, jobs to the county, without it turning into some type of Pigeon Forge area. And I think we need to support something like that, but if it wants to meet with them before we do the resolution, so we work things out, then I believe that's perfectly acceptable.
But you got it on there.
So August 12th
Say it.
at 7.
That'd be buzz, it'd be up there.
It'll be in Ducktown.
No, wait, let's see. All right, I was saying I could do the 5th, but are you wanting it to be a commission workshop? Or,
It's gonna be a building committee meeting.
okay, you pick which, you're saying a Thursday. Be the one. Yeah, the 5th or the 12th, whatever you pick.
What are the 12th at 7, so it'll be in Ducktown.
And we tabled it, so it's automatically on the agenda for next month. We don't got to make an agenda deadline. So it'll be on the agenda next month.
Y'all have a copy of that resolution, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. Next, we do have to suspend our rules for the resolution for the beer board.
I make a request for that suspension, and the reason for the request is because of the time frame that Attorney Logan has to file a response to one of the court cases that's been filed against the beer board. And one of their exhibits contained 12 to 13 different locations, most of them we can defend. But they're also designated again on the open rivers as public access points, which is becoming problematic. And time concerns on the filing back to the court, I'm requesting us to suspend the rules tonight. I didn't have time to get it on the agenda after I talked to Mr. Logan for 3 hours.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion made by Brooks, second by Davis. Any discussion? Roll call.
Greg Brooks,
Yes.
Kenny Davis,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
Yes.
Lee Espinoff,
Yes.
Mark Evans,
Yes.
Gary McKenzie, John Kipinger,
Yes.
Samantha Franklin.
Yes.
James Williams.
Yes.
This will be resolution 7-3-21. Whereas the Tennessee Anointed Section 57-5-105 and other authorized county legislative bodies to enact a rule restricting the sale of beer within 2,000 feet of schools, churches, and places of public gatherings. And whereas it is understood by the state attorney general's opinion that the county may elect to reduce such distance but not exceed 2,000-foot rule. Now whereas it be resolved by the county legislative body of Polk County meeting in irregular session of the Polk County Courthouse in Benton, Tennessee on the 22nd day of July 2021, that Section 1, the previous 2,000-foot rule adopted by Polk County is hereby dismissed and placed within 900-foot rule. Regulations such as with such measurements set at closest corner to the building to closest corner building to closest corner building in a straight line measurement. This rule provides that no permit for the sale of beer will be issued for any location within 900 foot of a school, church, or place of public gathering. Provided, however, this rule will not apply to places of business located in the terminal or main buildings at airports serviced by commercial airlines with regular scheduled flights. Section 2. This resolution shall be effective upon its passage and approval of the public welfare requiring it.
This in no way does away with the church or school rule. It just changes us thousands, or saves us thousands in litigation because of upcoming lawsuits. And this is gonna save us a lot of attorney fees and court costs. And it's still gonna leave in effect the district rule for churches and schools. It's about as good middle ground as we can get, really, considering our situation.
Madam Chair, I believe that's going to be 7-4 instead of 7-3 in the resolution.
Okay.
It is what it is. We've done depositions, we went over the different areas. Every time we provide proof on one of these, somebody else files suit, and they list the same places that we've already defended. They did come up with 3 other things. When the original permits were given, they were measuring 2,112 foot. Now they're measuring 1,980. And that goes back to dropping the pin on the map system that we have. The Beer Board has adopted a GPS system. It's a map 64X, certified 8-foot and 5,000-foot distance. And that is the measurement system we're using now, because depending on who drops the pin on that computer on the map, it can change how far you zoom in on each location when you drop the pin and do the measurement. It's not quite precise enough. What the attorneys are using is GPS distance measurements. Quite frankly, we got Fresh and Low and a couple others listed that were 2,112 foot, and now they're at 1,980 something, and the difference apparently is the measurements.
I make a motion approving the resolution 7-4-21.
Motion made by Brooks, second by Kinsey. Any more discussion?
So we're changing it from 2,000 to 900?
Yeah.
Didn't you order some GPS equipment to measure stuff?
That's what the Beer Board is now using for measurement instead of the overlay map system. We're using the same thing these attorneys are using now.
Did you measure it?
Measure which one?
Any of them?
Yeah, I've measured for last 2 weeks.
You agree with this, what they measured?
I agree with 3 of the measurements. But the other things like Mr. Zinfandel, I wholeheartedly agree that it's within 2,000 foot of Delano Baptist Church. But what they forgot was that Mr. Zip and Delano got their permit in about 82, and the county didn't adopt the footage rule until 86, and part of the footage rule adoption was grandfathering in anything within 2,000 foot. High Country got their permit 3 months before Shiloh Church moved from Shiloh Church Road to where it's at now. Things like that they have listed. Folks, you've got one listing here. You know, Flip Flop Burgers is, by their measurement, I agree with their measurement. 687 foot.
From the river.
They've got this Hiwassee River days. So Flip Flop Burger is 600 something foot from the Hiwassee River. And they're complaining Hiwassee River now is a place of public gathering in these cities. That's very defendable. Because there's no swimming place or launch place or takeout place for canoes, rafts, or anything else. We can defend all that. But the two that they've listed that originally shot 2,112 feet and 2,083 foot, that when you take GPS, like the Garmin down there, is now less than 2,000 foot. And what is certified and what they're using is the GPS system.
What it boils down to, it's kind of like a plea agreement in criminal court. What could happen, we do this, it's good middle ground and cut it off at the pass, or there's a chance this goes to court. This is our opportunity to get out of the lawsuits and still leave the distance rules for church and school, because what could happen if this went on the court, the judge could do away with the distance rules altogether for the churches and schools. And this way it'll make it all go away and it'll leave the distance rules in effect for schools and churches without taking a chance on the judge doing away with it totally. So, whether it sounds like it or not, this actually looking out for the schools and churches.
And us.
Yeah,
As lawsuits.
and the county, and the taxpayers.
How did you come up with the 900 foot rule?
Yeah.
Do what?
How did you come up with 900 feet?
That was keep everybody in compliance when the law was born.
We went plus and minuses on this, looked at it, and any possibility that they've got listed that the court might find, which I don't, the rivers, I just don't buy it. And I don't think Logan does either.
The 900 foot will cover every case. Every example with dirt, going to try and court.
Unless they stick with the rivers. If they can get a court to agree with them that the rivers are a place of public gathering, not just the swimming areas, not just the boat ramps. If they can do that, the county might as well do away with the footage rule, because this county has a lawsuit before Jacks River. We've got Conasauga River. I mean, there wouldn't be anything left if the court agreed with that, but so far they have not. I mean, that's just like, so flip-flops, I'm sorry, 278 foot from the Hiwassee River. They measured the Hiwassee River at the edge of the property flip-flop sets on, right up straight to the building. And then this filing also has Hiwassee Union Church at 1,265 foot from the flip-flop. An old building that was put on the historic registry 25 years ago is that lit from there, when the church actually moved on down past Rob's Grocery.
They still have service on
Not in that church.
it. It doesn't matter as long as it's still a
Well,
church.
it's not, that's yet another decision of the court waiting to hear.
And flip on the boat down.
Yeah, but they still got it, that's not, they're still challenging the footage rule on permits given. It doesn't matter if they're shut down or not, they've listed everything that's ever had a permit. said, it don't matter to me. It's awesome.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Frank Brooks,
Yeah.
Debbie Davis,
Yes.
Dewey Estimon,
No.
John Kipinger,
Yes.
Mark Evans,
No.
Jeremy Kimsey,
Yes.
Daniel Deal,
No.
Samantha Trantham,
No.
James Woody.
No.
Four yeses and 5 noes.
So where we go from here? We'll continue on with lawsuits?
Yeah.
All right.
Next, we have announcements and statements.
Okoy Fire Hall is coming on, the concrete's done, the doors should be started, what, next week?
Well, just soon as they can get those in, yes, they get the next step, and put the doors on the fire hall.
And then,
And also the bids are out for concrete and shell barn, if anybody knows anybody, turn in, spend those.
So
They'll be
about-
up in the office,
the Okoy Fire Hall will be capable of us putting fire trucks back in about 3 weeks. Maybe quicker, but as long as 3 weeks, so could you, contact Mr. Dalton, see what his plans are about getting them down there?
Often not your fire chief, could be Mr. Jesse.
Why he over with operations or equipment or something?
He's the main director. Jesse is the fire chief.
Yeah, but my office left at something, in the fire department. Okay, we'll get hold, I thought he was over the equipment. We'll get hold of Jesse and see what his plans are, get my rescue truck and tanker truck, okay. So it'll be ready in 3 weeks at the most.
Bruce, I'm gonna ask you, I mean, it's not my district, and I'm not getting involved in it, but there's a rumor out there that they were gonna utilize that fire hall after it's been finished.
I heard that, but when, that's why I asked Mr. Hatcher, see what their plans are. And if they're not gonna do it, we've got 6 fire halls close mountains. So we need to look at cutting our budget by 1/6 and look at, making Okoy a standalone chartered organization. And I think the county owns fire trucks anyway, right?
It does.
So if we do that, we'll pay which rescue truck, which tanker goes down there, out of their fleet. So whichever one they want to do.
Like I said, no, he was, Desmond's road, or making sure everything.
And I think we got a legit reason to cut their budget by 1/6. Like if they're not going over, we got 6 fire halls. And we use that money to, like, the charter standalone facility.
But like I was saying, I'm sure a lot of you all know the grant money came in for the show barn, so we're doing the concrete bid on that right now, so if anybody wants to turn in, as well as the concrete. And also, I'd like to, as Daniel and Jeremy and Samantha have said, between that with Nathan and Bush, our phones have been ringing. We've had a lot of people from District 3 contact my office. So both of you all are very well respected within your community. And I'd like for you to know that because it's been fielding a lot of calls for our county executive's office as far as this appointment that took place. And I just want both of y'all to realize that and know that.
Chris, you want to give us the update since you're here?
I can. We're business as usual. As of this week, one employee being short, being fully staffed, one EMT. We've brought on several new full-time employees, a couple part-time, still got some more part-time. We're waiting to turn applications in that requested them, but as of right now, we are one person being fully staffed. So, other than that, I mean, do y'all have anything or
How
any
you
questions
make
about?
up, how you make up that one position part-time?
We're trying to recruit for full-time, to fill it with a full-time person, but we have the part-timers that are, and then some of the full-time people are getting a little bit extra by filling them. So.
But the positions, the actual positions being filled?
Oh, yes, yes.
I have, if you're through, when you get through with Chris, I have one question I'd like to ask Dr. Jones. I don't know about it, no, I just didn't want to end it. You through, John Moore?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I've had several calls, Dr. Jones, in the last, well, I guess a good few weeks now, since the COVID money came into play. And this is just something that I wanted to openly ask. So your answer, if there is an answer, could be answered publicly. There's been a lot of people that has asked if, well, first off, everybody always thinks that the county commission disperses every dime of money. It's very hard to make it clear to a lot of people that the school is its own people. But anyway, I've had several calls on if there's any way that any of this money could, during COVID, there was a lot of people, everybody knows this is no secret, a lot of people lost jobs, a lot of people was out of work, a lot of families struggled, still struggling from it. And I've had, like I say, my questions have been, will they be any of this money that could be, will be, or just simply can't be, that where a struggling family could come in with requests for like clothes, school book, school accommodations, equipment, material, that they, is there any chance of any program that might be initiated to where families that qualify, we're not talking about every Joe Blow, that families that qualify would be able to get any type of assistance?
Well, here's what we're doing. I'm just gonna try to make it short, without filling in some knowledge about it. But the government fund is called ESSER. It stands for household name. It's the ESSER funds. And in ESSER 1.0, we got a small chunk of money that went toward things like cleaning supplies. And then ESSER 2 came, and it was about $1.1 million. And that was last year. And it was specified for learning loss. So it comes with a manual, what you can spend and what you can't, and what direction it goes. And it's a nice, big manual.
Yeah.
They earmark everything to death. And then what we have applied for now is it's called ESSER 3.0, and it's $4.7 million. And there's not an outreach program in that budget specifically for things like clothing, but it does ensure that there will be free meals for another 2 years for all students. We will be able to buy some school supplies that we can share with students. 26% of it must be used for learning loss, this last $4.7 million.
And excuse me, just 1 minute, because I know a lot of this stuff, a lot of people don't take the time and don't really know how to look up every single thing.
Right.
When you say learning loss, will this affect, like, let's say, I've got a 6th grader that is due to the virtual, all of the virtual that he just did not do very well with. Will this child be able to get, or with a group of kids or whatever, will he be able to get some individual tutoring?
Yes. So at least 15% of that budget will be used for tutoring over the next 3 years, 2 to 3 years, whatever you apply for, and how far you want to spread it out. But, I mean, there's a lot happening in education right now. In 2 more years, we're going to have a law has been passed that 3rd graders that are not on the reading level will not be promoted 2 years from now. So a lot of this money is earmarked and specified for things like tutoring, extra coaches. Coaches are people that help small groups out throughout the day, pull kids, benchmark testing, which means they test each of the kids to see where they are and how much they've lost, where they need help. Hiring things like teachers' aides for the next 2 years to work with small groups during the day, to try to make up for any kind of loss. We were able to use a big chunk of money for technology so that every child in Polk County has at least a Chromebook. Every child will be using their own Chromebook this year.
If we could just get them internet now.
Yeah, that's a big federal program that I learned today is gonna cost $4.something billion a year for the next 5 years. That's what the federal government's trying to do, the internet, high-speed internet to all households in the United States. But, we have, every section of that money has to have its own committee, which is formed from moms and then the principal, the teachers, to figure out needs assessments and where that money will go to. For example.
One other question, and I don't mean to cut you off, it's just if I don't think of something, I forget it. But one other question that's also been asked is, will any of this money can or could it, or will it, once again, could, would, and should, and do, be able to be used to set up any additional vocational learning?
Yeah, so out of the $4.7 million, we were able to spend X amount, and we put $750,000 toward vocational programs and certifications for high school students. Things like CNA certifications, Microsoft certifications, so that when they leave high school, they can go to work.
Right.
But $750,000 of that money is going toward technology. Specific, not machinery,
right,
but technological advancements. We use part of the money. We bid on a paint booth for Volkswagen. It was worth, it was valued at $2 million, and we got it at a real reduced price, but students are going to be learning about the basic area to paint automobiles with a certified paint booth.
right.
We're working on certified automobile repair. A lot of good things for CTE.
Good. That's, yeah. I mean, people are really, starting, and I mean, I know I am. I mean, I'm just overly concerned, and I don't mean to be a nuisance about it, but the vocational end of everything has just got so pushed back for so many years that now we're begging for electricians, plumbers, truck drivers, mechanics, because everybody's not college material. And I get so sick of everybody thinking that. Well, not everybody, but it seemed like the education system pushed so hard for smart kids, and they left our average kids that could be our electricians and plumbers and carpenters. They didn't get nothing.
I couldn't agree more. 10 years ago, the whole education system was everybody more vocational.
If you're not going to college, you're not nobody.
Everybody had to be put on the college path. Of course, there's a backlash to that.
Had a lot to do with it.
Of course, there's a backlash now where there's a lot of CTE going on there.
Yeah.
A lot of, and now it's, back then it was everybody else to college.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of kids don't need to be in chemistry and.
No, they don't need it. It don't, I used to make a joke, I'd say, it's okay for somebody to be smart enough to learn how to build that toilet, but we need somebody that can make it flush. So, and that's the truth. It's, you know, that,
We will be publishing all those budgets so that everybody can see where that money's going. We're gonna have a town meeting showing where every penny that money goes. And a lot of those decisions are made for us. But there is a lot of tutoring.
well, and that's why I said, you know, that's why I worded it like I did. What could you, should you, and can you? You know, because I understand there's restrictions to all of that, and that's, you know, the people that I've had the calls from. And of course, once again, then I'll shift them to the school board, because, you know, I try to tell them, you know, we're not the boss here. And, you know, but also, I don't like having no answers when people call, because they expect something to be said.
We have to be careful about hiring, because for all the ESSER funds, it's a 2-year program. You have to use that money in 2 years. And so whoever you hire, they're not gonna have a job in 2 years.
Right.
So there was X percentage spent on technology, there was X percent spent on CTE, there was X percent spent on special ed. There was a good chunk finally spent on tutoring programs. But I'll be glad to, if y'all want to, I'll be glad to come to the next meeting or whenever y'all want to bring that budget to show, and everybody have a copy to show where that money was spent.
Okay, yeah, I think that'd be a good
We're going to be reaching out
idea.
to the community with that so that people know what's going on.
Right.
But I'll mind a bit.
Okay. Yeah, we'll let you know.
Okay.
And, I'll get Robbie's office or somebody to get with you. And that sounds like a good idea.
I will make sure that Patrice gets a copy of that budget so y'all can look at it.
Yeah.
Share it. If you got questions, call them.
Yeah.
But, you know, like all government money, it's earmarked.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have that kind of.
Well, it sounds like a little bit of good's coming out of it, though.
It
It
is.
sounds like, you know.
It's good
And,
overall,
you know,
can't complain. I mean, how many years have we tried to get $500 from them?
Yeah.
And now we get 4.7 million.
Right.
You know, but it's not like we can just use that money for whatever we want.
Right.
We do have about a $300,000 capital outlay budget in the last one. There was no capital outlay. If you remember, capital outlay from school budgets was cut over 10 years ago. So it's been hard to even buy windows and doors and stuff. But there's about 300,000 in this last ESSER fund that will be used for new concrete, new doors, new windows, air conditioning.
Yeah. Right. All
I'll
right.
get her a copy of that,
Okay.
and then you call me any questions, I'll be glad to come do a presentation.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Anything else?
Motion done.
Second.